Hi, welcome to the Epiphan video booth here at NAB 2023. I'm Nick Milani, and I've had the great pleasure this week of meeting a lot of incredible folks from around the world discussing the future of broadcast here at the 100th year anniversary of NAB. You know, one of the things we talk about at Epiphan Video is the idea of broadcast without barriers. The idea of making every space a studio and every video an experience, regardless of where you are or how you can access technology. And I had a great pleasure this week of meeting a gentleman named Keenan Campbell from Disaster Group, who's introduced some new technologies and will be leveraging some of that Epiphan goodness. And I wanted to invite him into the studio to talk a little bit more about the work we're going to be doing together. Keenan, welcome to the shoebox size booth here.
Thanks. Yeah, it's great to be here, Nick. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much. Let's just start with the basics. Tell me about, again, or help our audience understand, what is Disaster Group? What's your vision? What are you trying to do? And how do we ultimately see you in the world?
So, Disaster Group started, I was a retired emergency manager, 27 years, I ran a county in Illinois, and people don't realize that technology just doesn't magically appear. The first responders have to have the tools to do their job. So when I retired, I was bored and decided to make IT products, communications, routers, things that let the first responders really do their job. So we created our bonded cellular router. It bonds to the cloud to ensure that they always have internet, phones, network switches, everything, and it has to work for cops to be cop and fireproof because they're rough on gear. So we built our disaster recovery rack, packaged it in there, and that's where we come today because, you know, Epiphan makes some really simple yet powerful products that are cop and fireman proof. So when we're out on that wildfire, if it's too complicated, they'll never take it out of the case. And so when we look at new products and we meet with the product developers, it has to be something that's intuitive and simple. Push a button, go live. So what we're going to do is incorporate the Nano into our workflow and also maybe even the Pearl if we want to. And the customer will be able to do a live press conference, still have great internet, phones, communications. The wildfires are such a fluid incident. Sometimes they have to get the word out on Facebook Live, YouTube, all of those platforms. So if we can set that up to where they throw a camera and a microphone, they don't need to be an A1 audio engineer.
Right.
They don't need to have a degree in TV broadcast. They can hit go live, they get the indicator that they're good to go, but then they can also bring in remote contributors. So it's really a great package for us, and we strive to just build those communication solutions that the firemen just really need.
Well, the thing I loved about it is it touched on a little bit of my past as well. You know, I supported that community for years at one of my former stops at Havas. And, you know, we were empowering those same people inside the cab of the car with Panasonic Toughbooks, their mobile office as we described it. And, you know, one of the things that I always reminded folks is they spend 8, 10, 12, 24 hours a day in that environment. And, you know, really to help them in a way that makes it convenient and easy is important. And, you know, part of what I think is really interesting is this idea of video on site, kind of creating these mobile command areas. You know, part of that's streaming back to folks like yourself in that emergency management center. Part of it's streaming to the public. Part of it's doing that simultaneously.
Well, and that's the beauty of this. So you can tell the citizen the road is closed, there's fire, you're not going to get through. But until they use their eyes to see it, they don't believe you. The responders are trying to do their job, and the problem is that the citizens want to be out driving around. Oh, it can't be that bad. So by giving that video, we ground truth. We're giving them the ground truth to say, folks, if you cross this road, it's no different. You'll hear Florida is really good with the hurricanes. If you don't leave now, we may not be able to rescue you. So that's the same messaging that these departments will have in a simple form factor, and it's much better than shaky iPhone or Android video. So we're bringing their production level up a little bit, but we're not bringing them into a full production truck. So that's where your products come in, that I think it's going to be a huge benefit to the guys that aren't super technical, but with a little bit of training, they're ready to go live.
So I love this because we're starting to unlock these new applications, these new impactful. I mean, we're talking about impact, right? This is saving people's lives.
Millions of people.
Yes, and saving lives. So one of the things that's really important that I saw with your product was the mobility and also the incredible connection that you can provide us. So maybe help our audience understand a little bit more about that. that backhaul, how you get that data to the unit.
So our router is a bonded cellular. So everybody hears the term bonded cellular. We use AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. There's a data radio inside the router, but they're all bonded to AWS. Everybody knows AWS as the leader in cloud computing. What we do is create a secure tunnel from the router through the internet to AWS where we egress it out. So it adds, all routers can do bonding of some type, but because we're endpoint and egressing at AWS, we're leveraging the stability of the AWS cloud worldwide to make sure that that responder always can communicate with SIP trunking, IP phones, internet, or just simply sending an email or a text message. So, and we make it automatic. The user doesn't need to know if it's better with AT&T, Verizon, or T-Mobile. Some of our competitors, you can have A or B carriers. So you have to either pick A carrier, B carrier.
Right.
Ours, they're all on. The guy turns the power switch on, he's in business in a minute.
Well, it's really cool because what I saw was a rugged tote.
Yep.
You pop this rack out, and remember, their job as fire responders, as people that are trying to solve a crisis or a problem, is not to be the technician.
Correct.
They want to pop it open, get it set up, get those video feeds going, and I think part of the value proposition that we have is the ability to also then manage all those video feeds remotely.
Right.
The folks back at the command center, the person that's going to be handling the distribution of comms is not the person that's fighting the fire.
Correct.
So we can balance that workload and we can make it so that the video is accessible to the public through the people that should be getting it to them while we get out of the way of the first responders that are on site.
Well, and usually when there's an incident, every county has an emergency operations center, the place where all the bosses are, the elected officials. So the beauty of your products, we can get that last mile feed up to our emergency operations center where there could be a video producer, somebody running the show, not only bringing that video internal so that the decision makers have all the situational awareness, but then also putting that feed out to YouTube, recording it so we have it for later, because every disaster has an after action report. So if we're recording that video, either local, in the cloud, or on premise, we're good to go because we can use that video as a training tool later.
Well, and that chain of evidence sometimes as well is really important. And our ability to both record at the device level, stream it up to AWS, record there, and then record back in that ops center gives us that confidence that we've got all the data and information we need.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to break chain of evidence.
Yeah.
The other thing that struck me great with your device is it's HDMI. So all of our DJI drones drop right in. So now we can do that eye in the sky, a camera down low. These guys they're going to love it because it's a 3-camera shoot with very little headroom. They're ready to go, and we always throw a drone up on our press conferences because the public gets to see that bird's eye view. The only problem is that the political powers that be will ask when we bought a helicopter.
Well, good news is a fraction of the cost of a helicopter.
Absolutely,
and flight time's a little cheaper on one of those drones than it is a helicopter, right? Well, I think this is incredible. We're really excited about the partnership. Where can people find out more about this technology?
So everything's on our website at disastergroup.us. There's some links in there, the router's on there, the rack, and we just keep adding products almost every week. We have a Starlink modification, puts the Starlink in a 1.5-inch tall package so that the responders can just plug it into the cigarette lighter and go. No cables to string out. So that pairs with our rack and your product. We can use Starlink as our backhaul also and bond it in. So.
Well, as a person that supported the public safety community for years and really understands the challenges they face, I think they'd be foolish not to consider your solution. It's a really great piece of technology, and it ultimately empowers better communication, better information for those that are involved and for the public at large, and I think that's great. So thank you so much for stopping by, Keenan, and we look forward to seeing this video that we'll be shooting next week.
Awesome, anytime, and I appreciate you guys.
Cheers.